So you see, my friends, many people don't understand. They go around playing these facade games with people and with the world. You know, many people go to psychologists, they go to doctors, they go to all these people who offer them something that appears to cure, you see, appears to provide a solution. But the end of it, what we're crying for is we want an eternal solution. You see, what we're crying for is we want an eternal peace, not a temporary one. See, so it all boils back down to who we are within, in the depth of who we are. You see, what are we receiving? What have we put there to abide in us, in the very core of our existence? See, and another thing that people think that is the way forward is to act on your feelings. My friends, you only act on your feelings if they're in line with what Jesus says is right, what the Spirit of God says is right. Now, many times you don't feel like doing many of those things, but you have to force the flesh. This is how you submit the flesh to do what's right. You see, and also you are given the power to overcome and to do these things in your relationship when you're imbued and you're filled with the Spirit of God, with His desires, with His motives and His intentions. You see, to do the things that are pleasing, you see, to God. And without these things, without spending time, which is the most important thing to do, spend time with the Spirit of God, because this is where you are filled, you see, with peace, with His attributes, His ways, His thinking, word from Him. You know, you could receive so many things, guidance, wisdom. You know, when you're filled with these things, this comes from a living relationship. You see, not head knowledge, not reading in a book like the way the world, what it has done. Most of the wisdom you see in the world and the way the world is operating is done so that you have to keep buying this and buy that and buy this and buy that, but the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. Why? Because the wisdom they are selling to you and to everybody else is not the whole truth of what needs to be done to get what people are getting on top. You see? So this is why I'm trying to tell everybody that all these, for Christians to start adopting the mechanisms of the world, they're even twice more foolish. Because see, worldliness will never inherit the kingdom of God. It's enmity with God. Flesh and blood will not also inherit the kingdom of God. Now, the way the world formulates its wisdom is to cater for the flesh and blood of this world. You see, that's what it caters for, and the survival and existence and thriving of flesh. You see, and that's what. In order for that, then you need to have certain carnal instincts, certain animalistic ways. You see, which most people are not in tune with because they never do. They're hidden from what needs to be done. You see, to get these kind of things. So they're just on a superficial level getting the handouts or getting the, you know, the from the top level, but they never go to the roots of what is happening. Because then they will realize that, man, this world is no hope in this world. You see, completely, it's just darkness at the roots. And then you realize that in order to be saved, it needs light. And then you realize there's only one light, and that's Jesus Christ. You see? And that's what people fail to. Most Christians, they don't know these things. They're just following this. They follow a Christianity that is submitted to political agendas, social agendas, to money-making, mammon, fame, glory, the glories of this world. That is what that Christianity has submitted itself to. That's why it copies and pastes from it. It uses its books and it puts Christian. It uses the scriptures to justify these things. See, they make entering the kingdom of heaven a word study, a study of readings and knowledge. See, this will not inherit. The mind of human thinking will not inherit. Someone says, well, how do you know whether that is the voice of God? And I asked them, which voice is the one that interpreted the scriptures to you? You see, which voice is that? Is the one that interpreted all your understandings of the scriptures. Then you realize it's another man. And then you have to ask, well, which voice gave it to him? So then you go down the list, and if you're honest with yourself, you find out which voice gave these people. You see, there's only one voice, and that's the voice of the Spirit of God that can guide you through everything. See, the purpose of the Bible was any follower of God that did great things with the help of God was somebody whose heart was for God. Noah, Daniel, many of them, their hearts were for God. You see, they were receiving on the inside of who they were. They wanted to please God in their innermost being, in their hearts, in their throne. You see, their desires became the desires of God. You see, and that's what many people say. Oh, they quote the verse, oh, God will grant you the desires of your heart. And then these desires are all worldly desires. And then they say, oh, God, God is going to bless me with these things. They don't know God. Because what happens is when you draw close to God, my friends, it's like going into the fire. You become the fire. You have to, otherwise you die. And in order to become the fire, you need to die to the flesh. So all those desires that people are saying, oh God, I want this, I want that, this is what your own ways and your own path. It's all a lie. You see, you're just using the scriptures. You're using and you're speaking from a worldly, carnal perspective. You see, many of the prophets of old and prophets today, they all speak from their own hearts or being led by other spirits, deceiving spirits. You see, and they say this is the voice of God. It's not. You see, so that's what they do. They present this rational version of Christianity. Many of the Christians, this has nothing to do with the heart. Then they present the Looney Tunes of the people that are proclaiming this and proclaiming that and proclaiming this. But what connects both of them is the love of money. You see, and you see one, you see another, you're like, oh, God is rational. Oh no, God speaks. You hear this other lunatic person saying, God told me this and God told me that. But God didn't tell that person that. That's their own heart, their own desire, or some other desire of some other spirit. You see, so you start denying, oh, this is not true, this is not true. Then what's true? But my friends, you have to stop looking out there for the solution. You need to start looking inside your own heart for Jesus Christ. You need to take Him there. You see, open the door. It's very simple. You don't need none of that stuff. You see, and then you have to purify yourself. You need to become holy. You need to become obedient. See, because it is in this holiness and obedience that you begin to grow. You need to feed the kingdom of God. See, in order to feed the kingdom of God within you, you need to eat bread, you need to drink water, you need to eat meat, and you begin to grow. The mustard seed begins to grow. See, now when it grows into the biggest of all trees, you see, when the birds will come in and lodge and eat, now you can feed other people. You see, you can feed other people and advance the kingdom of God and become fruitful for the kingdom of God. But my friends, if we are not feeding the kingdom of God, the mustard seed is going to die. And then all the other seeds that are, for weeds and tares and all these other from the world, they will grow, and other trees will grow. And we'll begin to feed people other things off of other. You gain money by being a hitman. You're going to get money, you're going to be able to help the poor, and you're going to justify yourself and say, well, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to give these people this money. My friends, look at what you did to get there. You're killing people. So in order to help people, you're destroying people. See? So this is what kind of help is this? With one hand you've killed the father whose son you're helping. You see? So that's not help, my friends. You see, it's not help. You're feeding drugs, selling drugs to people, but you're killing them. But then you're helping someone else because of your guilt, you see, or because you feel you need to do something to give back. But you don't look at how much you've taken away. And then you want to measure according to the way the world does with statistics. Oh, I took away 2 people and I helped 5 people. My friends, but you don't know the destiny of those two people you took away from, what they were supposed to do, how many people they were supposed to, you see. So it's not about the way these kind of things, you see. What we have to do, my friends, is we gotta submit everything we are to the Spirit of God, to the ways of Jesus Christ, and you learn to keep His commandments. You start feeding, it starts opening. You see, when you start doing, my friends, when you start doing these things, and not just talking about it, when you start practicing these things, what does it mean to practice? It means to keep the commandments of Jesus. It means to spend time with Him. You see, it means to do all these things everywhere you go. Then you end up losing the world, because the world has justified doing all the wrong things and present like a corporate image. It presents something that is always doing right, but in the darkness, underneath that what appears to be such a righteous thing, you find the most wicked darkness of what has been done to get that to look so good. You see, but people never go there to find out what's going on until you have asbestos poisoning or something is happening and you somebody's got cancer or things like that. Then you start wanting to find out. You see, then that's the problem. You see, so we have to start doing the right things, because when you do them, then it makes something that is a theory alive now. Is it right or wrong? You do it again, right or wrong? Do it again. Now it begins to live in you, and when you do it, it gives life. You feed those thoughts now, and they move from, you start moving from your head into your heart. The more you do it, the deeper it goes. You see, and then you feed it. You see, so this is the thing. How do you feed your what you do and what you say and think? It's by spending time with the Spirit of God. You see, spending time with the Spirit of God is like taking a sponge and throwing it in water. See, then when you come out, you're filled. You're still filled, and you have absorbed so much. See, and then you have water to give other people. You see. And then when you've given, then you come back to get more. See, this is how it works with the kingdom. We begin to advance the kingdom of God this way. But without this, we are just advancing lies. See, we will either advance one or the other. We will either advance the flesh or the Spirit of God, the world, the Spirit of God, the kingdoms of this world or the kingdom of God, Jesus Christ or your own ideas, which you are receiving from somewhere else. You see, now, so in order to change everything, we need to change the way we see within. Then what comes on the outside doesn't matter, because what you see within is what matters the most. That is why today you find people, they see on the outside, but they have to get the understanding within from other people, because they've never really done what it takes to get the understanding, to put it into the depth of who they are. Because that requires doing, that requires struggling, that requires suffering, that requires times of glory, times of victory, and times of defeat. But all things we submit to the Spirit of God, to Jesus Christ. You see, so that's where we need to please God, my friends, is from our hearts, from the depth of our hearts. You see, most people, they're very far away from this. You know, they very, very far away, and when you look and you see, it's just getting worse and worse. You know, you have to lie to get ahead. You need to steal to get ahead. You need to destroy, justify destruction to get ahead. You need to be covetous. You need to be envious. You need to be a hypocrite. See, in order to get ahead, you need to do all these other things and justify them. And that is why today you find all the evil under the sun is justified in order to get what the world gives. You see, because people have submitted themselves to all kinds of other things, and on the outside they're wearing a cloak, but on the inside they are hiding the daggers. You see, those daggers are the ones that will destroy you from having a relationship with Jesus Christ. You need a relationship with Jesus Christ that lives and abides in Him. We need to abide in the light. We need to be led of the Spirit, be obedient to Him. See, that means no sin, no unrighteousness. You see, we work towards overcoming these things. God looks on who you are within, my friends. Who are you?